In the lower left position, we have the blue Zerg. It is Moonrise.
And in the top right, as our green Zerg, we have KS.Rainman.
So, neither player has templed.
I think they're both going to go head first.
This is a big deviation.
Yeah, no one's going all in.
This is... I don't know what to do now.
I know, all the other games where we were talking at the start, and now we've run out of stuff to say. Oh no head first from Rainman, going for pool.
We did this in the wrong order, that's the problem, Greedy. We started off talking in games where it was like really short, and now we're not going to have... They're going to be super passive till like the 20-minute mark or something.
Yeah, we should have just loaded up game 3 first.
Yeah, that would have been the way to go. We will do another series after this, by the way, because ultimately we will be doing Hearthstone versus
Agaham. Oh yeah, because we saw Agaham win in the last round in that ZVZ.
We did?
Yeah. Sorry again, guys. For seeing some games that you might have already seen before. I know we got at least one series right, and that was the J-Power series right at the start.
And that was awesome. But anyway, in terms of awesome going on this game, we've got a gas coming out here for Moonrise. Meanwhile, Rainman is just starting his gas a lot later, but he also got down his natural quite considerably later.
Yeah, he did. He opted to go for that pull first. So he is going to be behind on his natural, and, well, it's a slight edge in Moonrise's favour, and we'll see if he can ride that advantage later into the game.
Well, we'll wait to see if he does, but for the moment we've just got obviously the queen out slightly quicker, or we should have had the queen out slightly quicker for Rainman. It's just about to pop, and that means that there will be one inject out more, which kind of makes up for being a little bit later on the hatch, but it's pretty equal, to be fair.
Yeah, it is, and then they're going to have two queens at roughly the same time. It's just it's a different build. So, as both players look to sit back and get droning, here we go. Speed has just gone down for Moonrise, so he has taken the lead in that respect.
Yep, he is. He's going into a really nice position. He's ultimately just going to... Both these players are going to just sit back and ultimately turtle up for quite a long period of time. There's no Zerglings really coming up for either player. There's no sign of there being an early Baning Nest until I say that, then Moonrise goes for Baning Nest.
Curse of the caster.
But they are just both going to be passive, to be honest. They're just going to ultimately, I would imagine, get defensive Banelings and want to go up into the mid and later stages.
Yeah, these are just defensive Banelings. Gonna look. There's the spine coming down from Rainman as well. In a really nice position, so you can sit the queen right between the Baning Nest and the spine. So yeah, it's just going to be a really passive game right now. And then we're going to be taking up, and then you're going to see the Muta versus Muta battles that we all know and love.
Yeah, Muta on Muta is really exciting. It can be, as long as it's really harassment heavy as opposed to let's just sit back and turtle play. But both players going up to 4 gas, so 3 gas and 4 gas. That means the Rayman definitely going fast tech up into Mutas, but Moonrise getting his lair slightly sooner. So not by a lot, but a couple of seconds. 4th gas should be taken pretty soon by Moonrise though, because if he does tech up into Mutas without that shortly, he will get quite a big deficit in terms of the gas income.
Yeah, and he's only just saturated his 3rd gas as well, so he was essentially operating off 2 gas for a long time there. But with him taking those gases in, good scout by Rainman, getting in and seeing everything as you'd expect. Lair timing so similar though, it's almost irrelevant.
Now, of course, a couple of Zerglings are just running around for Rayman, getting a good scout off, sees precisely what Moonrise is doing, whereas actually if we look at Moonrise's vision, he has seen everything as well. He knows that the 4 gas are down, he knows the lair's on its way, so both of these two just really scouting out, but just as I really said at about the 2-minute mark, this is a really passive game.
Yeah,
until...
look at the overall positioning for both players. They're literally identical spots, so they have essentially mirroring their vision of each other, and here we go. Hatch has gone down for Moonrise slightly ahead, so's the Spire, but more Zerglings being pumped out here by Rayman. Looks like he's going to go for that deny. And
that's not a big problem. If you go for the denial, it's really nice, but you've got to get it off, because otherwise you're making a big commitment to a lot of Zerglings, and if you lose too many, especially if your opponent does, and we get into that situation we saw earlier, where Muta on Muta battles are actually hugely decided by who has the large number of Zerglings underneath to soak up glaive fire.
That as well, and the fact that Zerglings are so much faster than Mutas, they can just go around and snipe hatches. Snipe after snipe drones. We saw him run into that natural base again, and he just sank 20 drones immediately, and there was nothing the Mutalisks could do.
And this is going to be the tough point, but in comes the battle of the third. Moonrise has way more units and those 2 banelings, so he's not losing that hatchery anytime soon.
And good bailing control, they're using them to zone out the Zerglings and not losing any. Here we go, whoa, careful with the bailing detonation, oh,
there we go, good banelings. Good banelings hitting, and of course 2 more still there. Big bailing there at the end, blowing those Zerglings absolutely everywhere, but...
Roughly equal trade there, I'd say.
Yeah, it was fine, to be honest. There's nothing to really worry about, apart from the fact the Mutalisks are coming out. That's always something to worry about on both sides.
Yeah, and wow, Rainman just pumping 6 straight away as opposed to Moonrise being slightly behind. I'm not sure what it is. It must just be a lava count thing because he has the gas, he has the minerals.
And if you've got the gas and you've got the minerals, then you don't have the lava. Otherwise, you'd have more. Otherwise, you'd have definitely more. But there is actually a small supply block here for Rainman, which is quite annoying as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be crucial right at the start. It's just going to be those few extra meters which are going to have the chance to go around and clean up these overlords as they should. In there, the third of Rainman.
Yeah, this is, well, nicely defended, so not too much going on there, but the Zerglings being forced back, it's... One thing we haven't touched on is actually the resources lost. Very even. Only 100 more resources lost by Rainman compared to Moonrise, so very equal game.
Every engagement has been... This matchup has been essentially a complete perfect mirror. Every engagement has gone very similarly for both players, trading pretty evenly. Both sets of overlords getting cleaned up near the bases, similar meter counts, and when it's completely mirrored, it then just comes down to skill, and these links take into the base.
Yeah.
Sniping a few free drones, getting a scout off.
They're just going to go for some more drones and actually suicide in. Don't manage to get that final one though, but I quite like that, just running them in, because ultimately you can afford to lose quite a lot of Zerglings in a big Muta engagement, or when you're going Mutalisks, ultimately because you've got to spend the minerals somehow, and sacrificing them just means that you keep your opponent pinned back, which is what's really important.
As we see in the unit count, drone count's really similar. However, Rainman has such a huge advantage in Zerglings, and that's the only real big difference here, and that's going to make a huge difference when it comes to the engagement. And since he is bringing these Zerglings along, they're going to be able to soak up so much damage, and in the engagement actually be able to go and snipe down the hatcheries and the queens.
And in come these Zerglings, in come the Mutalisks, the third base. The Mutas are going to be able to get there to come and defend, but look at how many Zerglings are here, and there just aren't any for Moonrise. This is a bit of a problem for him, but he's actually just running straight up towards the natural, trying to split the Muta flock. That means that half the Mutas engage, all of the Mutalisks of Rainman. Such a good engagement for him.
And that was... I don't know, with the Lings in the main sacking so much, and now Muta engagement, he took out so many, turning around and fighting more now. Rainman has such a huge advantage in this game.
Yeah, this is, well... absolutely huge, and Rayman's won him ultimately. Yeah. He's killed off all the Mutas. Moonrise, he's gonna have to GG. There's nothing you can do in this situation. Rayman ultimately has 15 Mutalisks on the field to none.
Yeah, he has that Zerglings, and he is going to go for a counter-attack now, but Rainman knows what he's doing. He's not over-making Mutalisks now, instead making Zerglings, but he's sending them out across the map, going for the jugular rather than sitting at home to defend. Are there any defensive banelings here that he can use?
There are, but there are some Mutalisks in range, but they're actually going to just go and attack as opposed to defending, so quite interesting there, but obviously the Mutas, if they come back and defend, I think that would be the smarter move, because you know you can win then.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I'm surprised those initial Zerglings, he didn't keep them at home. Oh, big bailing detonation there, but not quite enough. Rainman still has all these Zerglings up, and looking at the work accounts, Rainman has a huge lead now, but...
GG.
Yeah. GG.
GG.